Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies, bringing you a slightly different video, although that may already be apparent by the helmet. So, Star Wars Legion have just released their Din Djarin and Grogu miniature set. It was only officially released a couple of days ago. I had it on pre-order, so I got my hands on it nice and early, and I am dying to get stuck in and show you guys how to get these models put together and painted. So stick around guys, and enjoy the video. And this is the beautiful set that Star Wars Legion has brought out. I have been waiting for this for quite some time, and it is finally here. I'm going to start with Din Djarin himself. I obviously enjoy painting Mandalorians, as I've painted up two Star Wars Legion miniatures on the channel so far, and they're both Mandalorians, but
this is the way.
I'm going to start by using contrast Wyldwood to undercoat all of his undersuit. I'm not being particularly careful as to what else I hit, because all of the Beskar armor is going to be done with metallics, so I can be a little bit sloppy in these places. The model was sprayed Chaos Black, and then it was given a zenithal of Grey Seer, just to pick out all the shadows and all the highlights and stuff like that really quickly. I was trying to break up this kit as much as possible. I used Black Templar contrast for obviously his big cape, and I also did his kind of knee to shin pad parts in black as well. They're kind of a different color brown sometimes, and they're not very concise to what color they should be, but I thought this acted as a really nice way to break up that whole midsection of color, which I thought was just a little bit too much brown. So I took my time once again. All I need to do is avoid hitting the brown, as all of the armor panels, like his helmet and his shoulder panels and stuff like that, are going to be going silver. So you can kind of blast through this really quickly. As you can see, the contrast goes over the cape beautifully, and it tries and give you a stunning effect. Basically already highlighted. I will do some layering on it later on, just to add a little bit of an extra touch, but it already looks quite nice. Next, it's time to move over to Space Wolves Grey, which is a step that I nearly missed. He has a little like stomach protector bit that goes down above his kind of crotch area, which is kind of like a baby blue. I almost forgot about that. So try not to get black or brown too much on that as you're going along as well. Obviously the Space Wolf Grey won't show up a lot through it. Next, I move over to Iron Hand Steel as a base paint. And I'm just going to start filling in all of the armor panels on this miniature, which there are quite a few of, but not tedious to paint at all. He was a very, very enjoyable miniature to paint. Now I'm taking this to a really nice tabletop standard, something you could get painted up fast. Looks well on a shelf, looks well on a table, but it's not completely accurate. So for instance, he's got different colored fingertips. They're like an orangey brown. I didn't do any of that kind of stuff. And then some of the art depicts one of his thigh armor pieces as silver, some as like a rusty broken brown with green and yellow mixed in. I do know he does have an odd thigh armor piece in the show, but it's actually quite hard to get a concise "this is what it looks like" picture, so I decided to just do it as the same silver as I was doing for the whole thing, which I don't think anybody is going to notice who isn't a cosplayer or anything, who knows the armor inside and out, will really pay attention to. But if you are a cosplayer and this does bother you, I do apologize. So once we had all of these colors blocked in my opinion, the model is perfectly base coated, and it's time to go on to shade the miniature. He's actually quite an enjoyable model, like I said, to paint, and even getting all the base coats on, I felt like this is looking pretty well. Then I threw the new Formula Nuln oil all over the top of it. Obviously it's thinner, sells into the crevices really nicely, doesn't stay and stain all the flatter panels. So for a miniature like this, it's absolutely perfect. So I just went through and washed the entire miniature with that. And whilst I was waiting for that miniature to dry with the shade, I usually go ahead and base the miniature. And since how the Star Wars franchise can't seem to get away from Tatooine, I decided what better place to put him than on the sands of Tatooine. So that's what I've done here. And then it was time to get this model layered up. So for this, I'm going to use Rhinox Hide for all the parts that we did Wyldwood at the start. So basically his undersuit, we want to keep it nice and dark and muted. Obviously the Beskar armor is the clear focal point of this miniature. You don't want any other colors really jumping out and stealing its attention away. So a very quick layer job with the Rhinox Hide. Trying to get his bandolier as carefully as possible and not hit all of the rounds he has shoved in. The Fang was used for that kind of stomach cloth bit of armor that he has. Just a very quick highlight, like I said, the Fang is not a bright and vibrant color, but definitely stands out as the blue that it's supposed to be. Corvus Black was used to layer up all of the cape. When I say all of it, I don't mean all of it as in cover the entire thing. I mean all the black parts will get layered with it. So we're going to leave all of those nooks and crannies with the contrast and washing it nice and dark. And we're just going to start hitting the raised areas with the Corvus Black. Because it has a touch of grey to it, it's going to stand out really nicely and really be a nice looking billowing black cape. Ironbreaker was the colour I chose to layer up the Beskar armour. I didn't want to go Rune Fang Steel. I thought that might be too bright. And I think I made the right decision. As I was layering, in my head, it was like, yep, this is the right colour. I am pleased with this. I cannot wait to see the entire model all painted up. I painted up Boba Fett and it did not make me want a Mandalorian army straight away. But painting up this guy, for some reason now I definitely want a Mandalorian army for Star Wars Legion. So that may be in my future. And with that, we have a finished Din Djarin. It's time to move over to the main character and the most important character of the show, Grogu. So I started with Egros Dunes and I'm going to apply this all over his little coat. He is one of the smallest miniatures. I thought I was painting something that's like 15 mil in size. But no, he's just absolutely tiny. So I was really nervous at how the camera would pick him up and how it would appear on screen for you guys watching him. So hopefully put in the comments below whether the camera did a good job or whether you can't really see what is going on. After the Egros Dunes, I went for the Gut Rip of Flesh contrast. That's one of the new contrasts. And I applied this all over his little hands and his giant head. Very quick and easy step. Not worrying about the inside of his ears or his eyes. We're going to get to those later on, do a different color for them. But we're just forgetting the base coat on. We're going to hit it with all of the Gut Rip of Flesh. And that is basically the only two colors that are on this entire miniature. So after this, we're going to start washing him. So we're going to hit him with Sepia, which will complement his skin tone and his robes really nicely. Same thing, while this little tyke was drying, I did do up his base. He's not on his base because normally I do the miniature after, or the basing after the model's on it, but I thought that the texture material would go too high up him. So I left him off and did his base separate. Talaran Sand is what I came in with to layer up his little robe, poncho, monk thingy. I don't know what the thing is called. His adorable little outfit. Very quickly, it's a very detailed model. It's got lots of very defined creases, so layering it up was super easy. From here, it was time to actually put some attention onto the skin. So for that, I came in with the Scarsnick Green. I got a very small pointed brush, and I begun the very careful process of layering up his face, starting with his little nose, cheeks, wrinkly forehead, big ears, the whole shebang, being very careful to leave really nice defined lines between his features, which will make him stand out. Because this guy is, like I've talked about it a bunch of times in other videos, but people will not be picking up this model and looking at it, so you don't need to spend a lot of time at that kind of thing. Well, if you have this model on a table, people are going to pick it up or want to see it, are going to zoom in on it, you know what I mean? So spending a little bit of extra time on a model like this will make all the difference to how people perceive your painting. So I went through and layered up that. I know his eyes look a little wonky now, it's only because I haven't painted them, but I was quite happy with the skin at this point. And now it was time to go in and tidy up those eyes. So I just went in with some of the Coal Black, which is one of my new favorite blacks. And once again with a tiny brush, and I just painted his big shiny black eyes. I was holding my breath while I was painting those. And then I used a bit of Berserker Bloodshade just to tint his ears. Obviously he's got the kind of red tint inside of his ears. And the Berserker Bloodshade was perfect for just hitting a quick coat in there, and that finished off the model beautifully. After that I just snapped him off the little base he was on there, put him on his actual base and set him next to his dad. And with that, we have a beautiful Din Djarin and Grogu miniature for Star Wars Legion, painted up, ready to rock and roll. I was super delighted with the result. I was actually surprised how much I enjoyed painting them. The 360 here is actually going to go around twice, because once I had the camera focusing on Din Djarin, and then the next one I'll have it as Grogu. I've never done a double 360 view for you guys, so it will take a little bit of time, I do apologize. But I think it's worth it to see his little adorable face come around it. don't know what he's doing, picking up a Rhinox here or something, but something like that. Okay guys, and there we have it, a beautiful Dinjaro and Grogu miniature set painted up, ready for the tabletop. One of the important notes that I forgot to mention is you actually get 2 Grogus with this set. So one I painted is him outstretched using the Force, lifting something up, or probably knowing him trying to get some snacks. The other one, he's got a frog hanging out of his mouth, which is kind of hilarious. So the fact they give you 2 is bizarre. I don't know why they did that. Maybe just had a bit of space on the frame, and obviously it takes up not a lot of space. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you give it a like. If you have any questions about anything I've done in this video or anything previous, please put them in the comments below and I will get back to each and every one of you guys. If for some crazy reason you are not already subscribed to my channel, it would mean the world to me. If you took 2 seconds out of your day, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to support me even further than that, there's links to things like my Patreon below, which gives you access to a private Discord server where you can hang out with me on a daily basis and talk shop. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one.